Good evening, vlog number 3, so I'm not doing too bad. Today I'm going to quickly talk about my initial thoughts about the reaction that's happened since Friday when Trump's administration decided to neutralize the threat in Iran by killing General Soleimani. Um, so that's kind of the gist of what they're saying at the moment. They're saying that this general was building up a threat risk, and so he had to be taken out. Um, that has now increased the tension that has been bubbling away for forever and a day between Iran and the US, and so there's a lot going back and forth now because of that. Um, I I know a little bit about it, but not enough to say at this stage, how I feel about the potential going to war with Iran. I'm also very mindful of what happened when we went to war with Iraq, and yeah, and I have very close friends that are in the military. I was in the TA for only 2 years, but that was enough time to give me a better understanding, I guess, for the real sacrifices, human sacrifice that we make when we do go to war. So I do value the men and women who are in our forces, and their lives and the impact that a war has on them, if they do come back. Their mental and physical well-being and the impact that it has on families. So I'm certainly not war hungry, to say the least, and would be very apprehensive about us going to war with Iran. That being said, I am once again disappointed in the representatives of the left, so to speak. So I do use the term the left quite a lot, just as they use the term the right for us, even though I'm centre right. And there's such selective outrage, and there's this faux outrage that happens a lot when it suits people. So this idea that the left are always thinking about human rights, are always supporters of and protectors of human rights as such, are extremely disappointed that this general has been killed, and demand answers, and are condemning what Donald Trump has decided to do. Um, these are the people that are prepared to go out on the street and protest about human rights and our future and the climate and all this stuff. But I don't remember seeing any protests during the Obama administration, and the increase of their military presence and their military operations during the Obama administration. And so, once again, I think this is a case of not necessarily what happened on Friday, but who carried it out. Um, this general has the lives of millions of people, the blood of millions of people on his hands. He is part of a horrendous regime, or was part of a horrendous regime that believed that being homosexual is a criminal offence, um, and justifies hanging these people because of that belief. Um, they terrorize and kill their own people. He has been part of many groups of people that have caused deaths to US citizens, to British citizens, and his own citizens and citizens around the Middle East. This is not, we're not talking about just killing a political figure. We're talking about killing a terrorist who was on our watch list, was on Obama's watch list, was on, or clearly, Trump's watch list. And I don't think anyone should be mourning his death, quite frankly. It was only a matter of time before someone took him out. the consequences now of what's going to happen, we shall watch with bated breath. But Richard Burgon, MP, was out in Lewisham yesterday with this hashtag No War in Iran, speaking about Jeremy Corbyn predicted this in 2003 and said that the war in Iraq was going to cause this continuation of hatred and continuation of conflict in the Middle East, and how we should never have a war in the first place, blah blah blah. And it is uncertain times, and I can understand why people wouldn't want war. I mean, I don't think anyone would just want a war, but I don't ever remember Richard or other senior members of Labour or the left-leaning journalists such as Ash Sarkar, journalist, or Owen Jones, condemning, like I say, the Obama regime. So Obama, during his time, increased US special ops missions by 130% in comparison to the Bush administration. So that's a real big increase. He also increased the air attacks, and so in 2016 alone there were 26,171 bombs dropped, killing innocent people. Now some of them were drone attacks, they were targeted attacks, but not all of them. And there would have been some innocent bystanders who were killed by these bombs. 26,171 works out at 3 per hour, 24 hours a day for that entire year. Do any of us remember people out in the streets campaigning against Obama? I mean, that is a hell of a lot of bombs. And so now we've got a case where Trump has killed a known terrorist, and people on the left are outraged by it. And we will see in the next week or 2 weeks this constant demand for answers. But I think it's just because of who did the killing. So it's not necessarily about what happened on Friday, it's more a case of who signed it off. And that's what really bothers me is, how far can we trust these people when they're not looking at the actual act itself, they're looking at the fact that they don't like the person who committed it. People are very anti-Trump. The jury's out where I'm concerned, because there's some elements about him I really don't like, and then there are some elements of him as a president that I actually do like. And on this occasion, I'm not going to mourn the death for a known terrorist who's caused the deaths of millions of people. But yeah, it's just an observation of how people tend to respond to this kind of thing, and again, it's just full of hypocrisy. It's all bonkers to me. So there are my thoughts. There's a couple of stats there. I think people give Trump a hard time. Some of it's justifiable. There's a lot of it that isn't, and there's a lot of it that's just hypocritical. And Obama wasn't perfect, and I just wonder why there was so much silence when Obama was in power. And that disturbs me a little bit, and that worries me. That somebody who should have been taken to task about a lot of things that he did weren't, and I just wonder why. So they're my thoughts on the assassination of a terrorist, and we will see what pans out in the next few weeks about this, and how this is going to bubble over. But at the moment, Iran and Trump are both playing my daddy's bigger than yours, so we shall see how that pans out. Another few interesting days, and no doubt a few interesting weeks, if not months, to come. So have a nice evening.